Steve Sambles here from CinemaCon 2012 in Las Vegas, Nevada. And this is an amazing event where all the movie studios get together with the owners of all the movie theaters around the world and share with them exactly what's going on. In this week's episode of I See Places Hollywood, we're going to bring you an interview with Jeffrey Katzenberger talking about the future of animation. And we got to talk to The Rock about his new G.I. Joe movie. Check it out. That's me talking to director Guy Ritchie before our interview. Pretty cool, huh? You know what's really cool? It's how I got here. Like most kids, I found my heroes in the movies. My dad took us to drive-in theater every Friday. It was there that I found the best and the worst that Hollywood had to offer. My first date was in a movie theater. When I grew up and work sucked, you could find me in a matinee recharging my batteries. Then one day I decided to create a website, I See Places, to write about movies. Tech grew and cameras went from this to this, and we started filming the instant movie review. That's when a guardian angel took notice and invited me to stop talking about movies and start talking to the people that make them. And that's how I ended up here in the movie capital of the world. I'm Steve Sambles, and this is my show. Welcome to I See Places Hollywood.
In the immortal words of Jay-Z, whatever deity may guide my life, dear Lord, don't let me die tonight.
Whatever deity guides my life, dear Lord, don't let me die tonight.
Anything I missed, General? Call me Joe.
Dwayne, 87 television appearances, 37 movies, a bunch in production. A lot of people at this point would be kind of coasting, but you're not. Where does that motivation come from that keeps you just on top of the game?
We're just wanting more. Wanting more. The motivation comes from wanting more, wanting to achieve more. Stepping up to the plate and trying to knock home runs. But they don't always happen, obviously. Sometimes we strike out, doubles, whatever the case may be. But just wanting more and wanting to get better. And also, too, when I was 24 years old, I had $7 in my pocket. Jesus. And it wasn't always paper. So coming from that to where I'm at now, I'm sitting here with you, we're talking about a big movie, inspires me, motivates me.
This movie, we saw pieces of it last night. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable.
Oh, very cool.
This is not the last G.I. Joe. It feels like you could feel the punches.
Mm-hmm.
Did you kind of feel that it was more of a grown-up movie, maybe?
Well, what we wanted to do, it was important, I think, well, first of all, you get a second crack at something. You get another chance at bat. I'll use the baseball analogy.
There you go,
again.
yeah.
It's all sports analogies.
That's where my baseball hat.
That's right. So, you get another chance at bat. You get a second crack at G.I. Joe. They made one. Now we get our shot.
Yeah.
At it. And so in this version, we want to make sure that it was more gritty, more rooted, grounded, real, boots to the ground. And when it came time to action, we could have gone a direction where there were lasers being fired, things like that. Yeah. But there's something cool, and I think not only cool for an audience, but something important to strip all that away, still have it. Not the lasers, but real weapons and real rounds. Strip it all away and fight.
I wanted the Joes to fight. That's what I want you guys to do.
Yeah.
I want you guys to fight. Now, the bombs are cool and everything, but I want you guys to use your fist and throw a gun at somebody when it's empty. You know what I'm saying?
I love that, by the way. And we have that. We have, incredible hiss tanks. I'm firing a Ma Deuce.
Yeah.
Guns, weapons. But there's a point in the movie where I strip it all away, throw it all away, and I use Timmy and Jimmy.
We named them nice.
And we're going to town.
You talked about wanting to hit home runs. I talked to Louis for Journey 2 in Miami.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, listen, this was the best I've ever seen Dwayne in a movie. You were just in the pocket.
Yeah.
And you were great in Fast 5, too. Mm-hmm. And it surprises me because as many movies as you've done, it seems like you're finding room to get better as an actor. Mm-hmm. Which, how is that possible?
Mm-hmm. It's always possible, I think, just to get better. And by the way, that's the goal. The goal is to get better. For me, the goal is to get better. And I had no prior experience in acting. Didn't go to Juilliard. My family weren't, studio executives or actors or anything like that. So when I first started 12 years ago, I wanted to be good. I also knew it was going to be a hell of a challenge. And I needed to surround myself with good actors, good directors, and I just needed to work. I wanted to work. That was the key. baptism by fire. Get out there, get on the set, and work. You sink or swim that way.
John, as a director, he's really interesting. He came from doing some really, really amazing dance movies, which are very precise. Fighting seems to be pretty precise to me too.
Yeah, sure. There's a great connection there.
Did you feel that when he came as a director to you? Did you feel that?
Absolutely. And when I first heard that John Chu was going to be the director, I thought, well, that's an interesting choice. I thought because he comes from a world of dance. He'd just come off a very successful Justin Bieber movie. So I thought, okay, it's an interesting choice. You got to trust the studio, trust our director. Our producer Lorenzo de Bonaventura. When you sit with John, within 15 minutes, you understand why. You understand why he's directing G.I. Joe. He's passionate about the franchise, passionate about the title. But not only that, but what's fascinating about John Chu is he sees things in movement. Artistically for him, it's all about movement, which is why he's come from a world of dance, which is why dance is so passionate, which is why it's so precise.
That's why it
and
worked.
It's why it works. And when you see these action sequences that he put together that I had great fortune to be a part of, they're very precise, very fluid, and in a way, they're beautiful. But at the same time, grab you by the throat.
Yeah, they're elegant, but they're dangerous too.
Absolutely. Yeah, the rooted, grounded part, where the military part, where we're fighting, where I'm fighting.
Yeah.
It's dangerous, it's dominant, it's grab you by the throat.
Yeah.
There's a beautiful elegance that is still very dangerous when it comes down to the fantastical side, where we have these ninjas, Storm Shadow, Snake Eyes, and these incredible action sequences along the Himalayan mountains are amazing. So I'm very proud of John, and I love working with him.
Lastly, what are G.I. Joe fans and new people what can they expect from this movie?
They're gonna expect to be entertained, bottom line. And they're gonna be satisfied at the homage and the respect that we pay to the mythology of G.I. Joe, and taking a very beloved, important title and franchise in G.I. Joe that means a whole hell of a lot to me, and everyone who was involved this go around, and making sure that we deliver, and making sure that we were paying respect to the mythology, and making sure that when it came time to fighting, the fighting felt real. When it came time to the fantastical side, it was amazing and it was mind-blowing. And then at the end of the day, still paying respects in a way without giving the movie away to Cobra, paying respect to G.I. Joe. And when we all walk away from the movie, everyone walks away satisfied. And I just don't mean the characters.
Right.
Because characters can't ever be satisfied, but I just mean from an audience standpoint, whoever you like and whoever you're connecting with,
Team Cobra, whatever.
you're walking away satisfied.
Cool. Bro, thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Really good talk.
Yeah, good to talk to you too.
Ready and stop.
They're all dead.
There's only one man who could authorize a strike like that. And I voted for him.
Whoever did this will be back.
I love you in Legion.
Oh, thank you.
That was a great movie. I didn't realize you were so tall.
Thank you. Yes, very
Because you're
tall.
kind of the same as the other cast. Everybody must have been in apple boxes. I don't know. Shooting in New Orleans and Louisiana. Now you shot Venom there, right?
Oh my God! What?
Yeah, I remember. I
Wow.
know.
You've done your
I
research,
did my
man.
research.
Wow, man! I didn't even see that.
So what was the city of New Orleans, right? That's where you guys
Yes.
shot. What was it like to shoot there?
It was great for all the reasons it was not great. I mean, I love that city. It's so much fun. But the great thing about New Orleans is there's so much food. There's so much to do.
There's so much
after work.
distraction.
But that's exactly the problem. There's
Yeah.
so much distraction. So it's.
You know, I grew up in Florida, and it's humid and buggy there, isn't it? New Orleans the same way?
Yeah, it's very humid.
So you guys are always trying to look good.
Well, you know what? Like, the thing I love about this movie is that they try to make it as realistic as
Yeah.
possible. So when we were out in the desert, and it's, literally the sand was 130 degrees.
Point was not to look good. Yeah.
They let the sweat roll, and it kind of is nice just to not have to worry about somebody coming in and
This and Red Dawn, are you trying to be like the female action hero of the year? I mean, what's the deal?
It would be nice, but I'm excited. Red Dawn we shot a long time ago, and I'm just, very excited for it to finally see daylight.
You guys saw it last night for the first time, right? The clips?
Yeah, a lot of them.
Some of them. I mean, we've seen obviously lots of sizzlers and trailers, but there were a lot of scenes in
Yeah,
that we
even the
hadn't
stuff
seen.
we saw, like the effects hadn't been laid down yet. So a lot of that stuff was the first time I saw it.
It looks really aggressive.
Yeah.
like the first G.I. Joe was homogenized and cute.
Right.
This one was like not at all, right?
We are not
We're
kidding.
not messing around.
We're not kidding. We are not kidding.
Yeah,
The
it's-
first movie was fun. It was kind of tongue in cheek. There was a lot of sci-fi and a lot of in on the joke stuff. And this one,
Yeah.
John and Lorenzo and all of us really wanted to make like a really just a grittier film. You know, like a real camera. We shot it all on film, real in-camera effects, real action, real explosions, and it worked, dude. Like,
It was amazing.
Was that you that went sliding underneath the table?
Yeah.
What that was the coolest effect that I
Yeah.
remember. What was that? Were you going for a gun or something?
No, there's a giant action sequence that happens in the film where everybody's in it doing all sorts of crazy stuff. But for Flint we took parkour and free running and kind of mixed it with this military style.
Very
We've
cool.
seen you've seen free running in film before, but the way that we kind of melded them together is really really cool, and it's going to be exciting. People are going to love it.
Tell me about John as a director, coming from doing some really cool music movies.
Yeah.
Very precise techniques in what he did there. How was he for an action director?
John has an amazing aesthetic eye. He's got an incredible eye for movement, and
Yeah.
he's a kick-ass director. He's not. John's not going anywhere. He's not. Trust me. He did an amazing job.
You haven't seen anything yet.
You have seen nothing.
We
He's
haven't seen
incredible.
anything
Last night was just ridiculous what we saw. I'm excited. What are fans and newbies to the movie going to expect from this? What can they expect?
People that aren't familiar with the franchise.
Yeah.
You're gonna expect a absolute. This is an action movie that's two things. It's a newer action movie in a lot of ways. There's a lot of things that we put in this film that you've never seen before that are absolutely incredible. But in all the good ways, it's kind of a throwback. Like I was saying before, like there's a lot of just big, giant in-camera effects. It's dirty, it's gritty. There's real explosions. You know, we've got Bruce and Dwayne doing what they do best, and it's like, you know what I mean? Like
Okay, I know.
it's the action movie I wanted to see. I wanted to see all this stuff, and especially on top of it to be in a G.I. Joe world. It's you know,
Yeah.
it's
Whether
heaven
you're a
for me.
fan or not, you're gonna enjoy this movie. It's gonna be fun.
Dude, first of all, we saw clips last night.
Nice.
Unbelievable, right?
Thank you so much.
But I had this thing in my mind, okay? You did Step Up 2, Step Up 3D, and then LXD, and so you really hitting your mark in this dance genre type of movies. Step Up 3D was amazing.
Thank you.
Transition to action. Tell me, is action a lot like the dance type stuff in a way?
Yeah, well, I mean, it is and it isn't. There's, to me, it's all about movement telling stories. In the end, it's all about how do you communicate a character and how they get from one place to another. So in whether it's action or dance, movement tells story all the time. When we see John Wayne walk out onto a porch and he sort of shifts his weight, it says something. Or any of these actors, even Julia Roberts giving you that look, like that communicates more than a paragraph of dialogue could ever communicate. So when we're doing the action, we planned it in the same way, working with the fight choreographers and all those people, is using space. How does the movement communicate where the hero or the villain is, and how the camera interacts with that, and how does it enhance it or detracts from it in a way.
So there's a certain rhythm to action
Yeah, definitely.
with what you kind of carried forward from what you did in dance movies, obviously.
Yeah.
This seemed a lot more of an aggressive and not a kid movie as much.
Yeah, I mean, we
I mean
still.
that in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, we still go. It's a fantasy movie. You're in the Himalayas with these ninjas swinging on lines, and we have guys with crazy masks, and but we tried to ground that place in a reality. It's almost as if like when I was a kid and I watched this stuff, like I fully believed, even though the cartoon I look back is ridiculous, over the top, I believe those people were really real.
Were you a fan?
And I was a huge fan.
Okay.
Every day after school, I would watch, and so to me that idea of a kid thinking this is real world stuff is what we really wanted to feel in this movie.
Well, the adults are going to love it.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have fun.
Yeah, because I feel we really honed in.
Good.
You honed into this way. It seemed like it's taken to the next level. Now tell me about. You shared with us a story last night about working out the sequence on the snow-capped mountain ledge.
Yes.
With little army people or something.
Well, I grew up playing with the toys in my backyard, and I had them all over my backyard in the sand pits and the trees and the couches. And so when we were designing the Himalayan sequence with these ninjas swinging, we literally, with our previs guys, set up these couches in our office and then got a bunch of ninjas from Hasbro and set them up. And we're like, okay, how does this guy get from there to here? And then we had a climbing expert there who would tell us where our pick point would be and all this stuff. stuff. So we designed the sequence with couches and toys, which made it ridiculous. At some point, all these like guys are sitting on the floor with these toys. We're like, what the hell are we doing? It was pretty awesome.
As a writer, you're at a core, you're a writer. Do you get into the script and do rewrites while you're shooting, or where are you at with that?
Yes and no. It depends on what project. For this one, we had amazing writers, Paul and Rhett, who did Zombieland, and I love working with people
nice.
who are smarter than me because they add a whole nother level to it. So they did all the writing for it. I obviously, when you work with the actors, they bring something new to it, and when you're in a new location, it brings something to it. But for the most part, those guys, they're amazing, and they did some great stuff for us.
How much was shot in Louisiana, and how much was shot elsewhere?
We shot most of it in New Orleans. We had to be very creative and find some spaces that I couldn't believe we found, such as like a giant desert in Baton Rouge that we could form and mold. Or we had this NASA facility where we shot a bunch of like the Cobra Command Center type stuff.
Wow, okay.
And the military things. So we found some really cool places. And then we shot up in BC and Whistler for some of the mountain climbing things.
Lastly, what will G.I. Joe fans expect to see from this movie?
I mean, if you're a G.I. Joe fan, I hope that everything in your mind that you imagine these G.I. Joes being, that we give that to you. That from Cobra Commander to a badass Snake Eyes to the ultimate Snake Eyes versus Storm Shadow fight to things that you've never seen before, anti-gravity ninjas to hiss tanks. We really wanted to give it all. And of course, when you have The Rock and Bruce Willis in there as well.
Dude,
what else can you ask?
It's going to be amazing. John, thank you so much, brother.
Appreciate
I really
it.
appreciate your time.
We'll be back.
We're all that's left.
Let's get to work. World ain't saving itself.
You went rogue. I wasn't gonna bury any more Joes. Something else is going on here. Get out of there now.
Idol's a little rough and neutral.
I ain't gonna be in neutral.
We go by many names and take many forms. We bring wonder and hope. We bring joy and dreams. We are the Sandman and the Tooth Fairy. We are the Easter Bunny and Santa. And our powers are greater than you ever imagined. It is our job to protect the children of the world. For as long as they believe in us, we will guard them with our lives.
There's going to be a whole new group of kids growing up that are going to watch this movie and have a new outlook on Santa Claus. Do you feel that?
You know what? When I first came on, that's one of the things I realized one day. I kind of like sat up in bed in the middle of the night. Holy, it's unbelievable. But then you think about it for a moment and you realize, well, you grow up on images of these characters all your life. You don't realize it, but you do. So it's kind of nice to be able to add to the tradition in a real way, and that's one thing we're really trying to do.
And to work with DreamWorks, that must be a dream, right?
Literally, the incredible thing about DreamWorks is pretty much from the top down, just the array of talent, the number of talented people who are all focused on one thing, which is making an amazing movie. And with our project in particular, there's a lot of love attached to it. People have a real personal connection to the Rise of the Guardians, and it has been a dream.
Jeffrey, your stories are getting better and better. Animation is getting better and better. Where could this go?
Well, anywhere. I mean, when you have a year or two ago, we had 5 of the top 10 movies throughout the world were CG animated movies. Right. You've gone to the top. And last year our 2 films were in the top 10, Puss in Boots and
Which
Kung
is-
Fu
which
Panda.
is both amazing. They were
Yeah,
so
you
good.
know, it's literally, I think, the fourth and 10th, best films, the best performing films on a worldwide basis last year. So, animation has really come into the mainstream. It's become a very important and, really for the whole audience. There's no longer children's movies, and they're no longer in a cartoon ghetto. They're right there, front and center in the mainstream. So it's pretty exciting.
And lastly, when you sit down with your team and you want to go to the next level, what is the conversation? What do you say what do you tell them we need to do?
Well, the good news is they tell me. I don't have to tell them. They're the ones that come in and tell me, this is what we need to do to go to the next level. And I go, okay, let's go. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks so much.
That dream is over. It's time for fear to rule the world.
We have never faced a greater threat. And so, we will fight.
Wings up, ladies, and take no prisoners!
You don't want to race a rabbit, mate.
My army's ready.
Everyone to the sleigh! Buckle up! We're the bloody seatbelts! Ha! That was just expression. Yeah! Here we go! Everyone loves the sleigh.
DreamWorks Rise of the Guardians.